Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we are all learning to peace out. I am all learning. I am all learning to peace out, right? I hope you're having a good morning. Hey, Chris isn't joining me. We didn't have any tornado sirens going off at 6 or 6:30 this morning, and I'm sure he would not appreciate me piling in there in the side of his bed, although I might do that at some point this week. You just stay tuned. You never know, right? Anyways, also stay tuned because today I'm going to share, as I'm sharing, this is his 16th year after his wreck is November 8th, which would technically be on Saturday, but it's on Friday. That's okay. And so I'm sharing pieces of our journey, and today I will be sharing the day of the wreck. And because then there's so much story after that, I was like, I can't wait till Friday to share the wreck because there's so much God has done after that. So stay tuned, and I'm tagging. I need to tag all the videos. I'll go back and hashtag all the videos, Chris's journey or something like that. Something. I'll find a hashtag. I'll share it with everybody, and that way it'll be easier to find on my timeline. But anyway, so things that happen in life like that, and like all kinds of things going on right now in our lives, right? Just drive us to God, and sometimes it's frustrating because we want the answer we want and we don't always get it. But sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't. And it all comes down to trusting God. And so yesterday I was studying I was reading the story of Jacob, and I was actually reading it because I wanted to share it on my caregivers blog, dailydevotionsforcaregivers.com, and I wanted to share on the blog about Jacob and some of the things that happened to Jacob. And so as I was sharing a piece of his story yesterday, I sat down last night and this morning both and just went back and read his story, and I realized that Jacob went through some stuff and he ended up walking with a limp. But his limp wasn't a bad thing. It was actually a sign that God had been working in his life. And that kind of blows our mind sometimes, right? It seems disconnected, but we have brain fart. Jacob had three distinct encounters with God. And the first one was when he was running away from Esau. He was running away from Esau, and it was his fault, man. Kind of like Hagar. We've talked about Hagar a lot, right? And Jacob was running away from Esau because he had tricked him, and he was afraid he was going to kill him. So he had tricked him out of his birthright. He deceived their father, which Jacob's name means deceiver, right? And so he had tricked him, and so he was running for his life away from Esau. And in the process of running away, he fell asleep, and he had let's see, where was it? Is it 26 or 20? It's 28, I think. And he had the dream of the Stairway to Heaven, and no, it's not the song, not Aerosmith's song. The Stairway to Heaven. Anyway, but he had the dream where God reaffirmed to him his covenant, the covenant he'd made with Abraham. And now he's telling Jacob, he's like, I am the Lord, the God of your grandfather, Abraham. What an amazing thing. I have a deep connection in my heart with my grandmother. And the fact that I'm still doing ministry is a part of that promise that she had and passed it down. And many other ministers in my family too, for that matter, right? And on all sides, my dad's side, my other dad's side, my mom's side. I just couldn't get out of it, right? And so he's saying, I am him. And he's like, I'm reaffirming that covenant. And he's like, I'm going to be with you. He said, I will be with you, and I will protect you wherever you go. And Jacob woke up from this dream, and he goes, whoa, God was here, and I didn't even know it, man. How cool is that? And so he set up a pillar of rocks and poured oil on it and made a covenant. He goes, God, if you're going to go with me, I want you to be my God. And he made a covenant with God right there. And he called the place Bethel. Well, what caught my eye yesterday, Bethel means house of God, by the way. And what caught my eye yesterday in chapter 31 of Genesis, Jacob is now running from Laban, right? And he's trying to get away from Laban, and he has an angel appear to him, and he says, I'm running from Laban, but here's what the guy said. I had to find this verse, right? Sorry. So, and the angel appears to him and said, I am the God you met at Bethel. So Jacob named that place Bethel. And God recognized that Jacob named it Bethel, and that he knew there was a place. And he even said this, he said, the place, he's like, remember, Jacob, that place where you anointed the pillar of stone and made your vow to serve me? Wow, do you remember the day you got saved? Do you remember a time, maybe, and that's a good time to just go back and reflect on and go, that's when I made that commitment. But things happen along the way, and sometimes we have to reaffirm that commitment, and this is why this is so cool to me, that Jacob just kept reaffirming that, and God kept reaffirming it with Jacob, right? And he's like, do you remember when you made that vow? You remember that pillar? Well, that means God saw it. That just grabbed me yesterday. God sees it more in those instances, and things aren't working out like we thought, but we make that, I'll call it an altar in our heart, and we go, I'm still going to serve God. I'm still going to trust God. I'm still going to follow him. This is not the picture I imagined. This is not where I thought I would be at 64 years old. This is not where I thought I'd be at 18, at 12, or whatever, fill in the blank, right? 96, 104, I don't care. This isn't what I thought it would look like, but I'm still going to serve God. God sees that. I love that God saw what Jacob did and reminded him, I saw you. You know, when you set that little pillar thing up, you poured the oil over it. I saw you do that. I'm like, man, my head just exploded. My heart exploded over that. I was just like, God sees when we even do that in our heart, and we just go, God, I don't like the way this is going. I don't like this decision I made. I don't like that this thing happened right now or anytime. But I'm still going to declare, I will serve you. You're still my God. God sees that. And then they changed his name to Jacob. He said, I'm changing your name from Jacob to Israel. Okay? And so then Jacob's running, and he's fixing to come back. That's a southern term for those of you who know. He's fixing to come back and meet Esau, and an angel walks into the camp in the middle of the night, and he wrestles with this messenger of God, or this angel, all night long. And he goes, I'm not letting you go until you touch me, until you bless me. And the angel finally goes, okay, look, dude, you have wrestled with me all night, and I've really got other things to do. There's other things in this world for me to tend to. I'm in God's business, and I got to do some stuff, right? And he says, he touched his hip, and it went out of place. Isn't that a bad thing? I think it would be painful, right? And he said, this is to remind you that you wrestled with God, you struggled with God, and you still won. This is actually where he changed his name, not the other story. Sorry about that. He changed his name from Jacob to Israel, which means fought with God. And then he said, but you fought with God and you won. So a limp is not a bad thing. He limped the rest of his life. But I wonder if it ever bothered him, and he thought, I remember that night. I didn't let him go. I didn't let God go. I didn't let the angel go. I said, you're going to bless me. You ain't leaving here till I get what I need from God today. I love that tenacity. What if we did that even with just peace? No matter what happens today, we all know what today is. It's election day. No matter what happens, it doesn't affect our peace with God. It doesn't change one word in this Bible, no matter what happens. What if we have this same tenacity and we say, I'm going to wrestle with you, God. I'm going to hold on to you until I get what I need. And you come out of a struggle with a limp. You come and your hip just don't quite work right no more. But every time you limp, you go, but God touched me. I struggled with God, and I'm still walking in the faith. I struggle with life and still trust God. I'll take that limp any day. The limp doesn't mean an injury beyond repair. The limp means I fought something worth fighting for, and that was to hold on to God no matter what's going on in our lives. Why? Because if it goes like we want, great, we're still going to have to trust God. If it doesn't go like we want, great, we're still going to have to trust God. It all comes down to just trusting God one day at a time, one moment at a time. And so what if you have that limp that shows, I didn't let go. I got injured in the battle, but I didn't let go. Because I'm going to trust God. I still come out of that battle trusting God. Now, let me say, I have been through some dark times in my life, and maybe some of the videos this week will show that, right? That I'm sharing later this week, right? And I've had to say, I've had to redefine faith for me. I've had those moments where I've said, God, are you still there? It's okay. David said it in Psalm 13. Hey God, how long are you just going to look the other way? Are you just going to ignore me while I'm going through all this pain? I have this anguish in my soul and you're not paying attention to me. We have those moments. We come out of those moments with a limp because we're going, that's okay. I'm still chasing God. I may be walking funny, but I'm chasing God. My steps may be stuttering a little bit. My mouth may be stuttering a little bit, but I'm still going to chase God. I'm still going to trust God. I'm still going to put my faith in Him. I'm still going to hold on to the covenant and everything He promised me right here. So what if you walk with a limp? You're still walking with God. And that's what matters in time and in this life. Because when this life is over and when eternity, we finally step into eternity, however we do it, rapture or death or whatever happens, we'll still be walking with the one we didn't let go of that gave us that limp. Isn't that cool? Man, I blessed myself this morning. I hope y'all got something out of it. Peace out, you guys. Have a great day. I'll see you again tomorrow.